And then, of course, small keys and big keys need no explanation. The other thing to note is the Swamp and Scova's big keys do not lock anything except one single item as we get started here with a heart container at Link's house.
And it does look like we're going to get Uncle Starts from both of our racers.
Yep, a pretty common start you see these days. Uncle's item is pretty free, and you can check the first of the 3 pulls. It looks like today it is blue rupees on the tier 1 free pull.
Yeah, getting a little bit of money this early. You know, hopefully you can get 50 or some bombs would be great.
Speaking of bombs, and we have a small key to Turtle Rock, 1 of 4.
Our runners will hope for at least 3 of those before finishing this race. The 4th one will likely be for the lava, or would be for the Lava Island chest. Our runners either will save scum that or completely skip it.
Yeah. And that is something that, as we get a sword here, very nice. That is something that you should keep aware of, Sandy, is something called logic. It's not going to come and play too much, but basically, the logic is set up so that you cannot soft lock the game. What this means is, for the key logic in particular, it assumes that you have to use every available key in the worst way possible to prevent the soft lock from occurring. So, as an example, for Desert Palace, you could take the small key from the back and open up the side room in the front half of the dungeon with it. But then you don't have the big key to go fight the boss, the small key to and continue on to fight the boss. As a result, due to this key logic, Lamola's logic requires the big key and the small key to Desert Palace before we are able to fight him in logic. That is a very simplistic way to describe how key logic works. And we get a cape here as well.
I'm going to start looking out for some Castle Tower smalls at this point. Whew, that's 2 pieces out of Aga logic already.
Yeah, 2 out of 5 in Key Sandy, because we additionally need to have the 2 small keys in addition to the map, cape, and sword. And thankfully, Aghanim is not exactly favored to be available right away, which is a good thing sometimes. In an ideal scenario, you want to leave Aghanim for last so that you can use his refresh for defeating him to fully heal yourself before the Ganon fight, because Agatube does not give you that refresh.
As we do see clearing out all these items in Blind's Hut. There's our second Turtle Rock small key.
Let's get a couple of compasses. Now we should also mention one other thing about Key Sandy here, and that information. Like I said, the maps are what gives us the overall information, so you will very likely not see a map check. Again, not that it matters, because we need all the pendants and all the crystals. But there is still the green pendant and the 5-6 crystals, which have an items behind them. So we can talk to Sarahasra to get the green pendant in dungeon, and we can talk to the bomb vendor in Dark World to get the 5-6 crystal locations. And when we talk to them, as we get the lamp there, wow, we will get the map information added to our map, regardless if we have the maps or not. But yeah, Desert Palace small key. There we go.
Yeah, those, that early Aga item kit is interesting, and it Matt's gonna go back into that well, just wants to probably grab 2 more blue rupees to have enough money for the bottle vendor.
Makes sense to me.
And that's why you saw Nabs go and do a second tier 1 pull in the Lost Woods.
Now there's only comes to the desert here. Now there is one final thing I need to mention about the information. Like, if they just go to dungeon, they'll know if it's a pendant or a crystal based on the music, right? Key Sandy shuffles that, so they cannot use the music to tell if it's a pendant or a crystal. they have to rely on the maps or other information like I mentioned previously.
As we do get that glove out of the back of the tavern.
Yeah. Good amount of items here. Good variety of them.
Yeah, if we get the book, Desert Palace becomes an enticing offer to at least check.
We do have a big key there on the library, so very likely that we will need the boots this seed. Because, like I said previously, most big keys are required. The only ones that aren't required to go fight the bosses are Swamp Palace and Skull Woods. At least without using tricks like Icebreaker. Even then, the Ice Spells big keys can sometimes be skipped.
Yeah, we'll likely also see Tower of Hera not require the big key. Our runners very likely will go for Hera Pot to kind of work around that dungeon.
As I was going to use the grave to go into the back chest of the escape sequence.
Yeah, the name of the game in this mode really is, kind of picking your poison when it comes to dipping dungeons, as we do get the flute and the powder out of the back of escape.
Then, those are some very strong items there. Powder is an excellent safety item. Flute just gives us access to the mountain, which we already had access to because of the lamp and glove, but just a fast way to get up there, really.
Yeah, mobility this early is a great asset. Boots would be even better, but the flute, not a bad idea also to consider checking that desert ledge in Agina. That's definitely a location that can kind of get away from you.
Alright, flute coming in line now for both runners. There's also some interesting sprite choices here. We have Matt using the Darklings. Meanwhile, Nabs is using Homer Simpson. Jam check here. Makes sense. But Matt is... Okay, Matt's going here. I thought Matt flew to the 6 there for a moment.
Yeah, at this point, these are the standard checks you expect this early. Probably mini Moldorm check after this. Maybe head up to Ice Rod Cave. Maybe go over to Agina. Maybe go up the mountain.
Yeah, Gina seems like Nabs is isolating it. And that could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. We'll have to wait and see. There is a fair amount of one-off checks that can hide just a big key, so... Oh. Nabs has to be extremely careful here. Looks like the Molders are in the arrow dropping category of item drops tonight. Small key to ice. Another small key. This one goes to Ganon's Tower. That is another 1 in 4. Small key to Skull Woods and some bombs.
Yeah, no small keys that'll really make a huge difference overall in this race, but ones that can help in routing dungeons. Especially that Skull Woods and Ice Palace small keys, they will kind of help you move around a little bit more efficiently.
Yeah. Now, even with that heart pickup there from Nabs, Nabs has to be extremely careful. He will die if one of these crabs touches him.
Yeah, of all the early game entry or enemies, the crabs are probably the worst ones. 2 hearts of damage on green mail.
Get a map to Thieves Town. So they do have now that information on their overworld map. Yeah, but of course they need to be in Dark World to view it.
And we do have our first little bit of divergence here. Matt's going to head into Hyrule Castle, while Nabs is going to head over to the eastern area to check out Sahasrah's closet, as well as probably eastern, unless we find something actually in terms of progression in the closet.
Well, eastern is 4 items, and while Hyrule Castle may seem to make sense, again, the key logic comes to play, and only the first check here is in logic without the small key to Hyrule Castle.
And we do get that information that our green pendant is in Desert. And there's the Titan's Myths. So we're just a moon pearl away from Dark World access now. And the more interesting piece of that is with the mirror, that actually gives us a backdoor entry into Desert.
So what's this first check here? Here behind the small key of Hyrule Castle. The hook shot.
That's a good find.
That is a really good find.
Yeah, great finds on both sides here. You know, those Titan's Myths will really help. But you combine that with a hook shot, and that's pretty much Death Mountain fully cleared. All we need is a Moon Pearl to be able to do that.
Yeah, well, would be fairly nice, actually.
It does look like Matt's going to set up for a death warp back to the front of Escape as we find the big key to Ganon's Tower.
That's a place for it.
At least we're not hunting for that for the rest of this race.
Magical Boomerang, meanwhile, on Nabs. It's going to slow down the quick swap a little bit. But having a way to guarantee stun enemies for 10 arrows is not bad, actually. I don't have to worry about the quiver that much. Man now heading back into the Dark Cross check. Also setting up for what looks to be another Death Warp. And there's our Moon Pearl.
So if Matt does head towards the closet, you know, heads back over to Sahasrah, gets those Titan's Myths, I think we're going to have a very early play up Death Mountain.
Oh! Cape is equipped. Matt's gonna check the first chest of Castle Tower. Last check for Nabs and Eastern is a piece of heart.
And just $20 in that first Aga check, so might not see that that second one for a while, even if we do find the either of those Castle Tower smalls. But Nabs is heading into Hyrule Castle. I think we will get that. Well, we're going to get the hook shot, and I believe also the Moon Pearl. So Nabs will be much better set up to head up to Death Mountain.
Yeah, although I am curious where the Hyrule Castle small key is. That is technically locking the hook shot. And it's in part because you can take the key right there, go open the. And this logic assumes you can take that key there, and you open up the way to the back 3 chests. Even though we've already checked them, logic still makes sure that you don't accidentally soft lock yourself. So it accounts for that instance.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of info you can always kind of glean from knowing that. You know, what did it require for me to get that second key or that one key? So the more you understand there, like, it's not that it's a bad thing to break logic. It's just a question of, can I set myself up better by knowing that logic, or knowing where I might find something later or cannot find something.
Yeah, in this case, the Hyrule Castle small has to be somewhere that isn't locked by the hookshot, which there's a fair bit that's not locked by the hookshot, or that we can use the hookshot to get to, rather. And we can also play off of it. Let's say we find the hammer here in Paradise Escape. That means we know the small key is somewhere before the hammer. Well, okay, Dark Palace.
There are 6 of those. Our runners will likely want at least 4 of them. And if, 4 in the bow means it would be possible to full clear that dungeon.
Another small key. The Swamp Palace. That is an important one, as is the Bombos Medallion. We may need the Bombos. Small key to Gansara. That's our second. And in case you're wondering, oh, wait, small key to Swamp. Where did that come from? The very first chest of Swamp is always a small key normally. But a key Sandy, it can be anywhere outside the dungeon.
Yeah, there used to be, I think, old logic in V30 used to be that there was like a higher likelihood of it being inside that first chest, but more recent updates have kind of pushed that away.
Alright, first check of Agatara now for Seal. Or Nabs, rather. Part of Team Seal. And Matt, meanwhile, is going to check the... Ooh.
Nice find of the flippers.
Yeah.
Interestingly, that gives us a good portion of Ice Palace in terms of what our knowledge is.
I mean, Ice Palace doesn't require a dungeon. That's all we really care about, honestly.
Not that I would ever encourage runners into going into Ice Palace without the hammer, but we've seen things happen.
Oh yeah, trust me. I would think I was on the race that it happened that was just nonsense.
I think we were co-commenting that one, actually.
Oh! That's taking a little bit of a misstep there. We even have the same tracker on that race as we did here. It was Artero who was tracking this race tonight. You know, those items of the day for you down below.
But Matt is going to head into Dark World and check out the front portion of Skullwoods. This is always a good area to kind of check in an open key, or an 80 keys seed. 5 items. All you need is Dark World access. These aren't really locked by keys at all. So they have a high likelihood of having something important in them.
Yeah, best way to treat Skull was basically like another cave system in this regard.
Yeah, it's pretty much just dark overworld in a sense.
Matt making sure to dodge the Wall Master. And making the map the Swamp Palace, so we now know if that dungeon is required to be done. Well, if we need to do it sooner rather than later. You might want to prioritize the 5-6 crystals in case they have progression. We're gonna see a more thorough mountain climb from Nabs here. I keep looking at the team name when I'm saying the runner names. It's weird. But yeah, he will be able to get Dead Rock apparently.
Yeah, that'll be really
unreal.
important. You know, if there's something here on Dark Death Mountain, it can make a huge difference later in this race. Just from, or not even later, but just in the short term, really, this will be huge. And we did see that big key to Eastern Palace, and then the mushroom.
Now 20 rupees. And the big key to Ice Palace as well. We don't necessarily need that because of tricks like Icebreaker and Ice Palace Bomb Jump. But hey, having it is a nice peace of mind. We can get the chest on our way down.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those big chests that if you don't get it your first trip, you will last location something there. It's one you don't see a lot of runners ever wanting to return to.
And given that it's Ice Palace, I don't blame them.
Yeah, and Matt is heading to check Bumper Ledge, and
Ooh.
Okay, the Book of Medora.
That gives us logical access to enter Desert Palace. Across the Pony Island this time on Nabs End, we have 3 bombs up there. And that's going to continue onwards.
Yeah, I think this might progress into a Dark World loop, possible Frog World tour. There might be a dipping of the front portion of Thieves Town, but I think this will more focus on, you know, heading south and around the map. Maybe ending at Quakefish.
Oh, there's our hammer. And Nabs, I think, yeah, Nabs is safe warping away from checking Dark Death Mountain.
Interesting. And
we got a rod there.
Yeah.
It glances all the handlebars. I did not see the gem color.
I thought it was a fire rod. But I could have been wrong as well about the color on that one.
Chat and Tracker is confirming Ice Rod. So I'm willing to believe chat here. And we get the fire shield here, meanwhile. And half magic, good find.
And we'll get a nice quick death warp out of Thieves Town. A lot of those enemies will be doing 2 hearts of damage to start off. And we did get a quick map check there. I did catch that Swamp Palace is one of our 5/6 crystals.
I think we also have the map of Thieves Town, and I think I thought it was a pendant. I could have just been seeing things there, but I wasn't entirely sure. It was pretty quick.
And at this point, we are just a mirror away from being able to enter and clear everything except the big chest of Swamp Palace.
Oh, there's our mirror. That's gonna make the Darkhold routing even better now for Matt.
Yeah, rather than a world tour, this could turn into also checking purple chest.
Also checking Cave South of Grove. Also checking Catfish. And then mirroring to check Zora. This just opened up a lot of checks here all of a sudden for Matt, Ed. And the only check he's got orphan right now is Graveyard Ledge, but he can just do that when he goes to spawn the Graveyard, King's Tomb. Man, this is a lot of digs here.
Please tell me we get something worthwhile for all this work.
That was a okay, that was a full 30. I counted. That was a full 30 digs for that hard piece.
No, we did not get a pedestal check. Both Matt and Nabs had cleared the front of Skull Woods before collecting that book, so I doubt we're going to see... I think if we get that fire rod soon, I think there's a good reason to believe that our runners would check what the pedestal might be, but until that point, it's very unlikely.
And this made the Cane of Samaria. Wow.
So, which dungeon are you heading to first? Because at this point, you can full clear Ice Palace. It's a fighter sword, 6-heart green mail Ice Palace, but that's a pretty straightforward clear at this point. And you could also head into Swamp Palace and do everything but Big Chest.
I mean, Swamp is a 5/6 crystal. We don't know about Ice. But the thing is, Cold Stare can easily kill you at 6 hearts, fighter sword. I wouldn't be comfortable with that fight. In all honesty, I'd probably use the hook shot and the hammer and the mirror and go to Hera and check to see the medallion requirement for Total Rock while I'm there and do Dark Death Mountain, which neither runner has done. We can't finish Turtle Rock just yet because we don't have the fire rod, but poking around up there might yield it for all we know, so I don't know. It's a really tough call to make.
I mean, obviously, you know, the play right now is we're going to clear out some overworld, but I think this is... I think if we're going to clear a dungeon at this point, I think you full clear Swamp Palace. 6 hearts, green mail isn't a bad set of equipment for this.
No. Swamp Palace, I'd say, is pretty safe to do.
But I mean, for 30 minutes into an all dungeon key sanity race, this equipment allotment is really good.
Yeah, we're only missing the bow, the fire rod, the boots, and the mask sword for go mode. And that's just our items, mind you. We still, of course, need all of the big keys and small keys we need to get to the bosses. IPA meanwhile being checked. 20 rupees to start us off. And in the back, we have a small key that leads us to Thieves Town. That is the one and done. The third small key to Turtle Rock. The map to Tower Hera. And the small key to Dark Palace. That, I believe, is the second one we've encountered.
Yeah, I think that's 2 now for Pod. Now, that third TR small won't do much for us right now. The back half of that dungeon is locked behind the big key. So, not going to do anything in the short run, but in the long run, that does mean that it's very possible we could clear it as soon as we get Fire Rod and the big key.
Yeah, and the runners are pretty evenly matched here as we get a fairy from the purple chest. But yeah, to catch anyone up to speed here, they've done pretty much the same thing with the exception that Nabs has at least done a preliminary check of the palace. And I missed with the pedestal with that red.
It was junk.
Okay. Oh, is it 10 shots for your bow?
Yeah.
Okay.
And here comes that Swamp Palace play on Matt's side. I think this is a good move. It's a dungeon that you can clear at this point, and leaving behind the big chest is pretty much a normal play for this mode.
Yeah. And we also know this is one of our important 5-6 crystals. I don't know why it's Alright, let's see what we got here in the first chest of Swamp. Magic bat being checked though. Big key though to Tower of Hera. And if that doesn't incentivize us to go up the mountain, I don't know what will.
I believe we saw a magic bat on Matt's side. It was a small key. I just forget which dungeon it was for. There we go. It was Mire. Getting one small key to Mire is definitely nice. That's a dungeon that having that early small key can change your routing just a little bit, and isn't terrible to have.
Yeah, I would definitely agree to that.
A very common play having that one Mire small is instead of heading right to get the small key under the pot, to be able to head left. Some runners will actually head left immediately and check out the torch and the cutscene chest first, and then work their way back to the right to eventually head into the back for Vitreous.
Meanwhile, we have a similar routing in Swamp, but Matt is down, but does have the fairy. Map this Turtle Rock now, so we know if that is an or a crystal. We've only had one map check just so far, and there it is again. Swamp Palace, you can see, is a 5-6. Turtle Rock, I saw briefly, is a blue crystal. And it looks like we have dump map information on Thieves Town, but I could not quite catch what it was. And we have no information on Ice Palace.
But here we go with Diver Down. Nicely done. First try there. Cane of Samaria pretty much proving why it is one of the most broken items in Link to the Past.
There's now with the first bottle. The side of Swamp has a compass to Turtle Rock. Admittedly, a very pretty useless item at this point. It's so linear. And 3 bombs. So, less likely to be skipped. I'd still check in this case because you know for sure there are 2 items over there.
Yeah, and given how early we had access to Swamp Palace, you can't just avoid those 2. But I do believe Matt had skipped the circle room area, so we'll have to head back to there. Or U-turn room, or whatever you want to refer to this bottom portion.
I mean, he had to head back anyway, so it makes some sense to skip it now. Side. And I wouldn't be surprised if... Okay. I'm still thinking a few steps ahead here with trying to keep track of that Hyrule Castle small key. Because our hookshot's still technically locked behind that, although we've already full cleared Hyrule Castle at this point. Boots have been found. There we go.
And we have everything for mobility at this point. Boots, mirror, hook, flute, hookshot. You want to go somewhere? You can go there right now. And Matt is making sure to enter that Argus fight with full health. Any contact damage with the Puffs or Argus is 2 hearts, so 3 hits and this fight ends.
Makes sense to me.
And Matt's actually taking a really safe strategy with this fight. Of all the directions to kind of try to hit Argus or to take a Puff, shooting your hookshot up and grabbing a Puff is the most likely to deal you contact damage.
I can agree with that because it could be more than once actually. And being equally safe by using menu strats here to switch to the hammer and destroying the pups in 1 strike. Master Sword spins can work, but it is a little iffy because you still need to hit them twice with the spin.
Yeah, I think this is kind of an interesting topic. Is always, you know, what's quicker? Is hammer strats or fighter sword strats quicker? I've heard that it is possible for the fighter sword fight to be actually a little faster, but there's definitely some safety in going with hammer.
Oh, now this is the tricky part. 4 shots of the ice rod should do it.
Just a little bit harder to time those shots. If you base your timing a lot on Fire Rod, Ice Rod is a little bit slower, but nicely done there. 4 shots of the Fire Rod, and down goes Argus.
Ice Rod, but yeah, same deal really. They do the same damage. Nice and creative fight there. And now with the boots in play, I think Hera is all the nicer play to make, but it looks like Matt will be making the play into Ice Palace. After checking the island here. Almost got bopped by that 0. And it is a small key on the island to Dark Palace.
Starting to build up a little bit of a collection of those. And Matt does have enough money for Zora, but I'd also be curious about possibly trying to hit Zora area with a check of the catfish.
Yeah, certainly would be warranted.
And, you know, while we can full clear Ice Palace, putting it off just a little bit to kind of get the equipment, you know, see if we can get some hearts or a better sword, maybe a mail upgrade. Those would all be worthwhile assets for that. Maybe even stop at the Witch's Hut to turn in that mushroom and refill the bottle.
Yeah, although we can just flip the tune to that at any time. Anyway, the Clippers locks a big key to Dark Palace. And the bottle we emptied for the fairy gives us another fairy. Good. There. $20 rupees on Zora's Ledge. We're not going to be giving that.
And the ultimate scam on Zora. 500 rupees for a single green one.
I mean, I know we need a money sink in this game, but I don't think we needed that kind of money sink. The kid being checked, only a handful of arrows. The Argus fight is going pretty smoothly for Nabs. Meanwhile, big key that leads to Misery Mire on the library.
Well, given that we've got all the equipment for Meyer, that's another dungeon we can clear at this point.
Well, there is one snafu.
Yeah, a medallion. Aside from the fact that I'd also really hate to fight Vitreous on this equipment.
Yeah, we may not have the right medallion to enter Misery Mire. Map of Gans Tower, one of the 2 useless maps, unfortunately. Those do not provide us any additional information on the seed.
Meanwhile, Nabs does take down Argus, and there is crystal number 1.
Yep, for both runners. You might see a match here from Nabs as well, so I'm going to keep an eye and see what descent is, because I think we've been able to see it for a while now. Nope, not doing it just yet. SpeedGaming Dutch rating us for the party 27. Hello and welcome to the show here. As you see, the Quake is required to enter Turtle Rock, so no entering there just yet.
But we will find out if Nabs missed out on anything by not checking the Dark Death Mountain side of things when he first came up.
Ice Palace and Swamp House. Okay, so there we go. That is the information on the 5-6 crystals already laid out for us. And in this, we get the Master Dark Palace. Fairy being used on Nabs in the meantime. And this looks to be Tower Hera. Might check the Ether Tablet first. Looks like I think that will be the case. The Ether Tablet has for us a heart container. So Dark Death Mountain didn't pay out that much, actually.
Yeah, so we know that those checks will be made later, just that it did not affect any of that early game routing.
Nope. Need Burnham, meanwhile, in Tower Hera, you can see the effect of the compass there on the screen with the counter below the rupees and bombs.
And I fully expect that after Matt finishes up Tower of Hera, that there will be a play in the Spike Cave.
Setting up for the bomb strat setup here for the Hera pot, and there we go. Flip straight in, and down we go. Small key to Misery Mire. That is our second. Was it our third?
I think that was our third. I feel like
Looks
we've
like it,
seen
yeah.
all of them.
Yeah, that's our third small key to Misery Mire. That's all three. 5 rubies meanwhile for Nabs. And time for Moldorm. His eyes just poking out the top of the screen there, like, you coming in yet?
But 3 very quick, nicely executed hammer hits. Down goes Moldorm for $300.
And
a pendant.
all right. And it's the blue pendant too. Now I was making a question if I actually saw Thieves Sound correctly. I want to say Thieves Sound was in fact the red pendant, but the map check happened so quickly on Nabs that I could not quite tell. Oh, we have the big key, so we can find out sooner or later. Spike Cave being checked in the meantime. And it's our map to Misery Mire.
And on Nav's side, going through Pod has used all of his small keys. So all 3 of his are now been used, checking that harmless Hellway check. And setting up for the Hammer Yump. And Matt is going to hit those north, that Graveyard Ledge, Bonk Rocks, and King's Tomb, it looks like.
The one little outlier we have left, yes, so it makes sense to me. Ooh, now this is interesting. I just realized Nabs does not have the Dark Palace big key.
But does find the big key to Turtle Rock in that first check of the Dark Maze.
And some
Blue
armor.
Mail.
And now for Graver Ledge, only 3 bombs.
If Matt does find a bow along this path, which I think is going to end towards Eastern and Pod, and a 4th Pod small key for Matt, finding a bow means we'll likely see oh, never mind. I thought maybe we'd get Quakefish in the pyramid, but instead we're gonna get the Desert Mire area.
That's also a valid play. I'm trying to remember, have we found the map to Skull Ledge yet?
I don't
Quake.
remember.
Well, regardless, we have Quake for both dungeons that require Medallion. And a bow has finally been found in the Mire Shed.
With that, Matt will actually be able to full clear Eastern and Pod. The Pod routing won't be the cleanest.
Yeah, it's going to have a few roundabout turns, but we'll be able to full clear the dungeon with that route, so...
Yeah, so as long as you're willing to go through the Bowlock side a few times, which is inefficient, you can full clear that dungeon just by doing that.
I think the most ideal situation here is this Pod small key. There's our map, the desert, not that we need it. There's another map on the mushroom turn-in, which is the map against Terra, right? We already saw that. And we are seeing the catfish transition here from Nabs. It looks like we will be seeing the Pod Eastern play.
Now, usually you'd probably want to save a mirror transition here, but I wonder if you clear Eastern Palace first, just in the hopes...
And that's our map check. Thieves Town is in fact the red pendant. I saw that clear as day that time. Yeah, for this, I would say pay Kiki. Just get out of the way.
Oh, of course, on the pay Kiki, but I think I would still mirror and clear Eastern first in the hopes of finding a 5th Pod small to make my routing of Pod that much nicer.
Yeah, it looks like that's what Matt is doing. It also makes sense for Matt to do this as well, because even if he doesn't find a small key in here, this sets him up to potentially finish checking the northeast side of Dark World here and go to Catfish.
Yeah, I'm just surprised Matt hadn't done that check after King's Tomb, to be honest. Not a huge deal, but we were right there at the time, and kind of walking out of the Pod area is a lot slower than just heading from King's Tomb.
Yeah, but it makes you wonder if Matt's just gonna float away. You know there's nothing important at the Catfish at least, so it's not gonna matter too much.
Yeah, we did see Pyramid Ledge as well, which was nothing. So it's not that Matt has missed anything. It's just one of the things you really hate to see is somebody have to go and recheck these loose strands.
Castle Tower Smokey, our first one. And yeah, I can completely agree with you on that. Because one of the things that's going to eventually happen in this mode is you're looking for that last big key, that last item, that last small key to put yourself into go mode. And having extra checks like that, just out of the way checks that are going to eat up time to go check in the long run that you shaved off, they're going to start adding up and could make up a deficit that you possibly could have not had.
Now, on the plus side for this, well, not necessarily the plus side. We still have, if we're looking at what could end up being required in terms of a GT climb and checking the basement of GT, we're starting to get a bit more limited there. I think at this point, there's only 2 keys that logically could be in GT and be required to find. And that would be our Desert Big and our second Castle Tower Small.
Oh, we also need this. Oh yeah, GT can. Oh no, yeah, you're right, because Thieves Town Big Key can be in GT. But yeah, other than that, we only are missing those 3 keys for go mode: Desert Big, Thieves Town Big, and the other Castle Tower Small. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some dungeon clears here. We still, of course, need a Master Sword and the Fire Rod on the item side of things. We're getting pretty close to finishing the scene, and we get another Smokey there on the boss. 2 Dark Palette!
That is a great play. This is going to make the pod clear so much better. You will see a front door opening, which means only one route through the right side. That's a blessing for that dungeon. You expect Matt will be able to do the hammer yump and thus save that key on the dark maze.
Great find there. Meanwhile, we are seeing the Thieves Town play from Nabs, who actually did find the Thieves Town Big Key. Which was, in fact, in Palace of Darkness, which Nabs is going to find here shortly. So, yeah, at this point, the only thing that can be in GT that would absolutely require of us is the Desert Palace Big Key. And maybe Castle Tower as well. If we can find those 2 keys, though, we're basically in an item go mode at that point. And none of our remaining items, save for us one of our random swords, can be in GT.
Yeah, I mean, if we start finding keys really soon and have the items as well, we could see a very rare low percent 80 keys. In general, you kind of expect the 80 keys races to almost be like the safest ones where you have, all your swords, you have silvers, you have, 15 plus hearts. But the way this one is setting up right now, we just aren't finding all the safeties.
Now, there is still a fringe possibility here for pedestal being required, but it's fairly minimal. It can only be the Fire Rod and the Castle Tower Small Key at this point that we really would care about. If it's another sword, we'll just look for another sword elsewhere. And it can possibly be Quake as well, actually. Yeah, not a lot of hope for Ped. Although then again, this is the speed of a whole bunch of one-offs because it's all dungeons.
These were new checks out of Thieves Town.
Yeah, looks like we didn't get anything of note that immediately caught my eye. A few compasses and the like.
As Nabs does enter the blind fight with half magic and the cape. This, even if this fight goes off the rails much, more than safe. Yep, there we go. Down goes blind.
And only 10 arrows. But that is our second pendant of the match. First one for Nabs. Our runners are kind of hoping that they have a Desert Palace Big Key Go mode. And I honestly don't blame them. Matt hammering away the mask of the Helmasaur King.
Really well done on those hammer hits. And
3, 4.
equally-
Wow! Very cooperative Helmasaur King.
Yeah. That is a really, really amazing job done for those hammer hits on phase 2 of Helmasaur. Matt made that look especially easy, but getting close enough to get those hammer hits on Helmasaur at the end are not easy. And yes, we are seeing Nabs head into Ice Palace. We do know this is a full clear available.
That's right. In addition, it is our other 5/6. We will be maybe checking the pyramid for 2 more items in addition to the 2 8 in this dungeon. Why did I start saying 2 there? It's late. That's all I have as my excuse, is that it's late.
I mean, if when you start out learning rando, there's definitely an argument of like, it can be difficult to kind of learn your numbers for how many items are in each how many items are in each dungeon. But 80 keys does simplify things. It's just a grab everything.
Yeah.
And Matt is coming up on finishing pod completely. Just going to get that hammer yump. And we're going to find out what was in that big chest that Nabs was unfortunately unable to check.
Mirror Shield meanwhile in Ice Palace. And it was the map to Skull Woods. Oh. Yeah, we guess we didn't know Skull Woods was just yet after all. Oh, we know now by process of elimination that it was a crystal. And there's the Blue Mill, a second bottle as well.
And we did get a little peek at the Devil Homer.
That is a great bunny spray, good reference as well. Small Key to Dark Palace, that is the 6th one. So we know where all 6 of those are.
Definitely one of the kinder layouts of pod smalls in a seed.
Yeah, those can get pretty complex. And I want to say that due to key logic and where the Thieves Town or Turtle Rock Big Key was, by logic you did need all 6 Turtle Rock small keys. Or not Turtle Rock small keys, what am I talking about? Palace of Darkness small keys in order to access Turtle Rock's big key.
Yes, technically the Dark Maze, the Harmless Hellway, the Big Key Chest, and the Helmasaur Fight are all technically locked behind 6 keys.
Yep, and it's again because, as we mentioned before, the key logic assumes you use your keys in such a way that it puts the items there so you don't soft lock. Nice Hellway dash there.
Yeah, finding that God Pixel, not always, that's a very, you know, there's some luck involved on the RNG of the enemies, but also making sure to land on that can be very difficult.
Another small key to Turtle Rock. That is the 4th one. Ooh. So we have all the keys, but we don't have the medallion for...
And we're kind of burning through checks very quickly in this seed. So where is Quake? We can't full clear desert, but we didn't see the 4 checks we could do there.
Man, yeah. This is getting fairly... It's quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of, you know, take stock of what we haven't seen. We've got 4 checks in desert. Death Mountain is cleared for, you know, what we have.
Is it on Arc? Is it on video? I said that both the other eye-based bosses. Good job, me. Is it on Culture here is what I was trying to say.
We could also see our second chest of Aga Tower.
Yeah, that's like the only other spot I can think of, not to mention it. And it's 3 bombs, so it looks like it might be a Aga Tower climb.
I think
You
I'd still hit desert first. You know, knock those out. That's 4 items. But yeah, Aga Tower is definitely looking possible for where our progression is going to end up.
There is one other spot for progression to end up, and that is, of course, on Lumberjack Beach. We don't have the second Castle Tower key. However, what's to stop it from being in the second chest of Castle Tower?
Exactly. And we never saw a check there. Our runners kind of decided not to check that early in this one.
Team Pyramid. Oh, we have Pyramid Fairy at our disposal, though. But
True, with that clear of Ice Palace, we do have Pyramid Fairy as well now.
oh, we haven't been in desert yet. Oh, have we?
No, when Matt checked the Mire Shed and the Checkerboard and Agina, Matt decided not to head into Desert Palace at all.
Oh, there's gotta be something in there then. Because I again went back to the logic that I was still keeping track in my head. We still haven't found the Hyrule Castle small key to put the hook shot in logic. So maybe it's in here? Arcane on the torch.
So Nabs is going to provide us with some new information here.
There's the Quake Medallion.
Ooh, that's a good find. Definitely, you know, I think at that point, you're going to go into Mire.
I couldn't agree more.
Especially on Nabs' side, you know, we haven't seen, you know, Nabs has done most of Eastern, most of Pod, so returning there just feels like, you know, you want to kind of save those at this point because you knocked out most of them.
Yeah, we don't have the Desert Bait though, so we can't finish Desert Palace just yet. Nice cipher figure there from Matt. All right, Naz, where are you going? He's heading back to House of Darkness, it looks like, to finish that dungeon up. And Eastern as well. Trying to think about the seed a little bit more. And been thinking about it. I think we have to know where the hierarchical smoke
Has to be in Can't be in Meyer.
No, it absolutely cannot be in Meyer because the boots were hookshot locked, and the hookshot's locked by the small key. But what wasn't locked by the small key was that first Agatar key.
Yeah, so either Turtle Rock or
The first chest in Agatar has the Hyrule Castle small key.
Yeah, one of those two.
And if it's the latter, that means it was a logical double dip of Swamp. And of course, we're talking about the second chest in Castle Tower, not the first. The first one we already know was nothing. But the Hyrule Castle small key could be in the second chest, which we have not checked yet.
Both of our runners had done a great job. Can't understate the use of the hammer in that cold stare fight.
Yeah, that is not an easy thing to do. The hammer is deceptively small. Like, you can see sometimes people holding out their sword where they try to hammer swing on the Helpless King. That's to extend the range of the hammer, actually. Alright, here we go with the Helpless King fight on Nabs. 17 hammer swings.
Yeah, kind of going off of that whole thing about cold stare just a little bit more. One of the strategies that really helps if you're a newer runner trying to learn how to do a good hammer cold stare, hug the top ceiling. You'll be able to pretty much eliminate the ice chunks as being a factor in the fight. So always a good way to kind of learn how to do that fight by removing that factor.
Yeah, allows you to be pretty safe during the fight, which I sometimes do just because I don't want to die in cold stare. That means you have to spend another 5 minutes in the dungeon.
And one of the other questions from chat as to why is Matt, up so many dungeons already at this point? It's really just come down to Matt has gotten, I don't want to say it's a luck question here because both of our runners have been very skilled. It's just Matt has waited on some checks a little longer and been able to single dip certain dungeons. Matt did not touch the Eastern Pod area at all until having a bow, 5 pod small keys, and the big keys to both dungeons. So that became a one-trip area, whereas Nabs has done 2 trips into pod and 2 trips into Eastern as part of this.
Nabs well is going back in for the big chest. Good kill room here from Matt.
Yeah, for not having fire rod or sword beams, really well done.
And our first item here in Mr. Mario's 20 rupees.
And yes, we are just 4 items from Go Mode. 1 big key for Desert Palace, the 2nd Castle Tower small key, the fire rod, and at least 1 more sword.
To push the blocks here. Has to be relatively quick to get these last 2 torches. And there we go.
Yeah, and this is that routing I had mentioned earlier. Just by having that 1 small key, Matt was able to head to this side and then will work his way back to the right. Finish it up by the big chest and the spike room, and be able to head straight back to Vitreous from there.
There's that 1 Castle small key we know is in play. Alright, missing our big chest has the silvers!
And not a moment too soon. That'll be great for Vitreous.
It
Both
really
of our
will.
bows were in the mire area.
Here we have a map. This one leading to Ice Palace. Oh, we didn't have that information either. Unless Matt checked the bomb vendor before me realizing it. Actually, has Matt been over that way? I don't remember. Anyway, down to Vidi after taking this last chest, which is a heart piece. And that was clever. Dashing down so that the screen ramp is shorter before falling in the pit. Very smart. I like that.
And one of the smaller things I kind of want to point out in this race, you know, if you haven't been playing Link to the Past Randomizer a lot recently, you know, you'll notice that we don't see the menus a lot. We've had great quick swap usage. You know, that is at least a couple minutes of time or more off the ends of these races. And, you know, how effective they're using that will continue to save time.
I blinked. Where did Vitreous go? Yeah, silver arrows are pretty allergic reaction there. And there's our 3rd and final medallion here in Misery Mire. Still no sign of that Hyrule Castle small key. I'm really curious where it is now.
Yeah, I think we are just down to TR and Aga Tower.
Yeah, the second chest of Agatara still hasn't been claimed yet. And at this point, we kind of don't care because that's all of the taken care of.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those logic elements that won't be entering the runner's minds, you know, will easily forego needing it.
Yeah.
But Matt is making a very heads-up play here, deciding there's so little left, and I'd love to find the fire rod before heading up to TR.
I mean, it's rare, but the fire rod can be in Turtle Rock. I've heard it happened once, and it was all the way at Laser Bridge. I don't think I've seen a seed like that in quite some time. Or was it recently? I don't actually remember.
Yeah, I think most runners will always remember that first time they had an open seed where fire rod was in TR and deep in TR.
And nothing on the Pyramid Fairy. And we are going to see the second chest, it looks like, maybe, of Aga Tower. Can't slash the barrier there, Matt.
Yeah, surprisingly, for over an hour and 20 minutes into a race, we are still on Fighter Sword.
And here we go. Our first look at the second chest of Aga Tower. Meanwhile, Nabs has opened up Turtle Rock. Maybe we're going to go in there in a little bit, but first check in the surrounding area. And it's only 20 rupees here, so pretty safe to say that the Hyrule Castle Smoky is in fact in Turtle Rock at this point. It's the only place it can be that's left. Alright. Looks like we're seeing Matt finally check Catfish.
But it has the mirror out, so I assume this will turn into Flute up to Death Mountain, most likely.
And here we go. The play into Turtle Rock begins with Nabs. Not many checks are available here. And we got probably the second most dangerous room in the game coming up. With the Chain Chomps.
Yeah, luckily we do have all 4 TR smalls, so we'll be able to see just about everything. The only things we can't check at this point are Trinex and that right side torch room.
Yeah. Which, if we find the fire in here, wouldn't be bad. Wouldn't be too much to delve back into. Small key to Hyrule Castle. There it is. All right. So now finally the hookshot's in logic, which puts the boots in logic, which puts Mire in logic. Because there's no way for you to enter Mire without the boots or the hookshot.
Yeah, I mean, if or when we find a fire rod in here, do not be surprised to see a runner complete the dungeon and then walk back into TR afterwards.
And here's the thing. The fire rod may not be in here. We still have the lumberjack ledge to check, and we still have pedestal to check as well. It could be that we have to get the big key to desert out of here in order to get it off of whatever's on Molnar's prize and the big chest of desert. There's still a few other options for the fire rod to be, but wherever it is, it's locked in Turtle Rock in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, our runners have been very thorough about pretty much checking everything at this point.
I would not be surprised if we're in Goma by the end of Turtle Rock here. Now, Bombos is the slower way to deal with these rooms, but as you can see, it is killing these Hokobokos in one shot. And there you can see why chain chomps are very dangerous. Look at the health total on Matt suddenly. That was, I think, 2 hits from the freaking chomp.
And even with Blue Mail, and Matt is still playing very risky there, going through that area. We do have 4 anti-fairies coming up, so I have to imagine we're going to see powder soon.
Yeah. Chain chomps are the second strongest enemy in the game. The only thing that does more damage than the chain chomp's bite is Ganon's contact damage. Thankfully, still has a fairy. Both runners refill their bottle at the waterfall fairy fountain.
And whatever our progression it is deep into Turtle Rock.
Yeah, looking like it might be either here in the Crystal Roller or Laser Bridge. Come on, I want to see the fire rod. Let's see it. Oh boy.
We're down to Laser Bridge.
And it has to be here. There's no other place. I think Nabs can mirror. I don't know if Nabs can save the port and go back into Turtle Rock's front end. I haven't done any of that sort of plays in a while.
What, are you saying if Nabs finds the fire rod here?
Yeah, I'm thinking use the portal will mirror.
No, if we find fire rod here, I think the best kind of play, or the best play really would be clear. Oh, the big key to Skullwoods would be just fight Trinex, and the teleport after you kill Trinex will bring you back to that front door.
Small key to Skullwoods. So you're saying let Trinex kill you so you go back to the front door?
Yeah.
Except
we don't have a fire rod.
And also except that if we didn't find the fire rod and we wanted to go back, we'd die and we'd respawn in front of the big chest. We wouldn't go all the way to the top. And yes, it's pretty linear here. It's Skullwood's big chest.
Something is there. We can't say for sure it's going to be a vanilla fire rod. The other possibility, of course, is neither of our runners checked the lumberjack ledge at the start of this race, so it could be our second castle tower small key. It could also be our desert palace big key. Any of those 3 items are possible right now.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's behind the Skullwood's big chest, and I want it to be the fire rod so bad right now. So you said that. Nabs is gonna do a little bit more overworld checks. He is not done Spike Cave yet. And I think Matt is gonna attempt to save the portal here by mirroring and then doing a flute to 3. And I'm not sure how it works. I'm not sure if you can go back into Dark World.
As long as Matt does not use the mirror from Dark World, the portal can be preserved. What Matt would have to do is
Save warp.
Would have to probably clear Skull Woods if it's the Fire Rod, and then take a death in the overworld, and then continue from Mountain Cave, and would be able to return to that portal.
Okay.
And this is only going to work because of the fact that we have not killed Aga 1.
Yeah, it's Vanilla Fire Rod. What more needs to be said there, folks? And talk about a rude GT as well. Or not GT, Turtle Rock. That is the absolute worst kind of Turtle Rock. So all the more props to Matt for setting this up. Because I would be absolutely livid in this seed if I had to go through the entirety of Turtle Rock twice. He at least will set up in such a way that he can get back to Turtle Rock's laser bridge really fast.
Yeah, this'll, if with how close the race was before that, the fact that Matt was able to make a very heads-up play, save that portal, there is a clear advantage at this point for Matt.
Oh, getting grabbed by the Wallmaster there. Look at the magic that might have been intentional to try to respawn some magic pot.
Although Matt is skipping that easy magic in that first room.
Yeah, it looks like Matt might have just got bumped in. Oh, what? He shot the torch, but it didn't light.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. And meanwhile, Nabs is on that moth fight, breaking out hammer strats and fire rod, just going with whatever works best.
Yeah, with the fighter sword being our only available sword right now, the runners are having to be fairly creative with their boss fight, and we see some impressive fights tonight, to be honest. The fun quirk of the moth is the moth only has enough health to take 4 temperature hit, but doesn't have. And there we go. Skullwoods had nothing, so we had to go back to Turtle Rock and get whatever is on Trinex now, and the 2 chests in the front.
And at that point, if we don't find anything on Trinex or that right side of TR,
Wait a
we
minute.
will see.
We're in GT mode. I just
Yeah,
realized.
we'll be in the GT. And only on Fighter Sword.
So,
And honestly, we full cleared dungeons. We haven't really had a dungeon that's been not cleared. Really, when the runners have went into dungeons, the only dungeon we haven't been able to full clear was Swamp Palace.
now I'm not sure if Matt has a fairy and forgot to release it. Nope, does remember. Oh, almost got bumped into it. And there we go. That is the Death Warp in play.
Yeah, this is the use of that portal. So what we're seeing here is Matt is going to head over to East Death Mountain in the Light World, drop down to the portal he left outside of Laser Bridge, and rather than having to go through all of Turtle Rock again, Matt is able to enter that portal and be in the back of TR. This is a very heads-up move. Will save minutes. And especially in comparison, because I don't believe Nabs was able to set that up. So, yeah, this will be a big time save.
Yeah, this is gonna possibly even be the deciding factor of the race here.
I mean, at the same time, Nabs hasn't cleared Meyer. So after this, Nabs can't even head into Ganon's Tower. Nabs will have to head down to the Meyer area to beat Vitreous.
Yeah, Nabs has been wanting to save Meyer or Desert for a combo, but it just looks like it's not going to happen, which is unfortunate, but sometimes it does happen.
And yes, if you like hammer bosses, here comes Hammer Trinex. We are seeing a masterclass of hammer strats tonight.
So it'll be 5 swings on each head, but you have to hit them with the elemental rod of the opposite element. Ice on the fire head, fire on the ice head. Ice head being one of the more annoying ones because you can do that.
Yeah, and given how effective and like how timely Matt was with the firehead, was able to just spam fire rod shots to deal some damage instead of swapping back and forth for the ice head.
And look at that. Nav's already down there as well. Was this portal actually saved? I wasn't quite sure.
Yeah, I didn't think so, but I guess I had missed it. I assumed wrong given Nabs had made a play over to Spike Cave, but also heads up there.
I think it's because he... That's also had it set up. Alright, so yeah, good knowledge from both runners' parts. He just added a few more checks, which threw us off for a little bit there. Still, this is looking to be game here for Matt. Because if the Desert Pal's big key is here...
We're in a sword hunt. And a key. Sorry, we are missing 2 keys and a sword.
Their bottle and the blue key. It's in Ganon's Tower, confirmed. Desert Pal's big key is in Ganon's Tower.
Actually, there is still a chance that it's only the second castle tower small key in Ganon's Tower and Lumberjack. We never saw that.
Well, that was our 3rd small key to Ganon's Tower, so possible. But there we go. All 7 crystals breaking the barrier down. Unfortunately, Nabs was saving Meyer, but cannot do it any longer. And now he knows it.
Yeah, unfortunately, Nabs having skipped Meyer, really, you know, when he found that Quake medallion in Desert, is kind of coming back to bite him a little bit.
Oh no! I just realized something too. Where was the Misery Meyer big key? Because Nabs doesn't have it.
Oh no!
Oh, I think it was Super Bomb. Alright, I think he's good.
No, I thought... I thought it was before then, but I could be wrong. I thought Big Bomb was nothing. Yeah, where was that? Because I would have thought...
It's been an hour and 40 minute seed. I can't even possibly. Small key to Tower Hera.
Ew.
Possibly required. We don't know yet. Let's hope it's not.
And our tracker is confirming that Nabs does not have it marked. So currently not in ownership of it either. And the shovel.
Oh, my rig was the library? Was it?
Oh, that would make sense. We have not seen Nabs return there.
Right, we haven't.
And that's a tough one. You know, that's something you kind of forget to go back to.
Second Castle Tower, small key. Master Sword. We are Desert Palace Big Keeper Go mode. And somewhere in the surrounding area. And yeah, I just checked there on the Big Key tracker on the item menu there. Nabs does not have it. Oh.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Not marking that, or, you know, if you see it and then if you forget to go back there for a long time, it kind of slips your mind. It's one of those hard parts of, you know, just seeing something and not going back for it for a while.
Another small key to Ice Palace there.
This does look like it is the play back to the library for Nabs, so we'll have that Meyer Big Key momentarily. And that does explain why Nabs did not head in there previously.
Yeah, I completely forgot.
But we are seeing a full clear of the GT basement right now.
And there we go, Nabs GT mode. But that was a lot of time Aiden for that mischeck.
And I think we're about to get a, we are going to get the GT big chest check.
Makes sense, 10 arrows. One of the few times you ever check that chest. That was an interesting recovery there on Matt.
Yeah. Unfortunately, having grabbed that second pot, unable to bonk, but still maintaining a bomb jump.
While defending against a mini Helmasaur. And also dodging the hard hat beat on the other side. That was not easy. Well done on him. Nothing but 20 rupees and arrows behind Ice Armas, though. So, we go up.
And Matt is going to skip Tile Room.
Yeah,
So,
we never did Tile Room.
Yeah, Matt is leaving one check behind.
I mean, it wouldn't be that bad if it was in Ganon's Tower, because he can set up a situation which he can just save or back into through the pyramid. One thing is for sure, though, we know the Desert Big is somewhere. I think we only have... We've checked pretty much the entirety of the scene here. So, of the things that could be there, it could be the fourth Ganon's Tower small key. It could be one of our 2 remaining swords. It can't be the Blue Ring, because that was on Trinex. Or it could be the Desert Isles Big Key.
So what we have that we have not seen, we haven't seen the Tower of Hera basement. We have not seen the shovel check. We obviously haven't seen the top of GT. We don't know what the lumberjack is. We have seen the pedestals, or the sorry, not the pedestals. We have seen the tablets checked. It was not on the tablets.
Yeah, there's only 4 items out there, and we got only maybe about like 5 or 6 loose locations that are not GT. And a few of those are either heart pieces or heart containers, but we haven't found all of them yet. So, if the Desert Big Key ends up being there, it's not the end of the world, because we know that the Big Key alone locks at least 3 checks, because the hospital is out, the boss of Lamol is also out, and the big chest is out. So 3 of our straight checks are just excluded right there.
Yeah, we're down to 2 though left for GT now. Down to 1 up here.
Yep, and it could still possibly be in the tile room.
But meanwhile, Nabs has taken down Vitreous and will be heading up to GT momentarily.
Now, the one and only times here is if Nabs checks tile room and it's there, and Matt last location's it. That's the only way I can see Nabs coming back to this race. And it may be there. Oh boy.
Yeah, to the question of, if you know that the pedestal is going to be a sword at that point, do you care enough to go for it? I have to agree that it's probably not a play you make. The amount of time invested to go get that sword is just a little too great.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Now, if a sword just happened to be on her way, then that's even better. And he might find a sword, and he's more likely to find a sword than he is to find the Desert Palace Big Key, just because there's 2 other swords out there and only 1 Big Key. Just simple odds there. But there we go.
Yeah. Very nice Agate 2 with the 2-2-2. Unfortunately, we are still 2 dungeons, well, 2 bosses away from being able to fight Ganon. We still need to clear Aga 1 and the Landmolus of Desert Palace.
And it looks like we're going to be fighting Aga 1 first, just to make sure it's not on the Lumberjack Ledge.
Well, and this is also kind of more effective time-wise. What we'll likely see is when Matt goes to clear Desert Palace, there's a good chance Matt will enter a Dark World portal and save and quit from the top of the pyramid in order to just be there. Matt will lose all of that health refill from the Landmo kill, but will save time in returning to the pyramid.
Yeah. And we've got a few minutes here, folks, so let's play a little bit of a mini guessing game here in chat. How many blue balls do you think we're going to get from Act 1? Because it's fixed for both runners, but it's completely randomized. So I'm going to say, go with the average of 6-2.
Let's go a little mean today. I'll say 5. Not the worst, but, something a little interesting. And of course, we will keep an eye on Nabs as he clears the GT basement. As we said, you know, if Nabs does check that tower room, a lot of the end of this race could hinge on that.
Oh, there's at least one of them. Now, you know, pretty straightforward fight here, as you can see. First shot's always reflectable, and then the next 3 shots have a chance to be reflectable or non-reflectable, like that one.
We are currently 4 for 4 on blue balls.
Oh boy! Well, there's a reflectable shot.
And a 5th. So yeah, in a worst case scenario, folks, you can see as many as 15 blue bulbs. That is if you don't miss. Six. Wow, this is being a mean one. Think he's down to the last hit? Nope. 7 now. And there we go, 7. Wow.
So that is another boss down, but we're still out on a search for a big key. Where are we going?
You know what? Check the lumberjack ledge, I'd say.
And that appears to be where Matt is headed.
So has Nabs checked power room yet? And it is not here in Lumberjack Ledge. It is 300 rupees.
So that still leaves us with the shovel spot, the Hera basement, and tile room, I think. I don't believe there's anything else left.
And Nabs is checking tile room.
Just so we're clear, Ped is absolutely dead in this case. Desert Palace is our last pendant, so the key will not be on the pedestal.
That is correct. And it's not buried.
This big key is on the mountain. I will say, I think Matt might have enough of a lead based on the fact that Nabs had full cleared the basement. Just given the fact that Matt has cleared both the GT climb and the Aga Tower climb, but this will give Nabs at least a little bit of time catch up, not having to do some of these checks.
There it is.
It's not there.
Wait, it could be in the big Just a Small Palace. Oh my goodness, what is this nonsense? It didn't have. That was one one of the two big games we did not even see yet. I forgot. That's one of the optional big games. Oh,
So,
this scene
yep.
is so bad, and yet so good.
Yep, this is a great one already. So to anybody who only just got here, we have checked pretty much the whole seed, and we were down to only a few checks left, looking for the Desert Palace Big Key for Go mode. We're also only on Master Sword at almost 2 hours, and the Matt had skipped Tower Room, so we figured maybe it was there. And Nabs just finished checking Tower Room to find the Swamp Palace Big Key. We are down to 2 locations, either the Swamp Palace Big Chest or the Tower of Hera Basement. One of those 2 locations must have the Desert Big.
And there has to be a sword, I think. Yeah, I think there has to be a sword in desert somewhere. Just for the fact that we have so few checks left, and yeah, I can't think of anywhere else where the sword could be.
Yeah, I think the only way a sword is not in desert at this point is if we put a sword in swamp and a sword on pedestal.
Yeah. And then the big key to deserts in Hera.
So first up for Matt will be the Hera Basement. Matt's been following the density here, really. You know, what's easiest to get to. And I'm sure, you know, we know kind of with where Matt is in this seed, and, you know, approaching 2 hours and you're not in go mode, you know, part of you's thinking, oh my gosh, is it possible? Like, where's my opponent? Did they find this big key? What was it behind? You're almost anticipating that done from your opponent, and it's not there yet. And so you're on the edge of your seat, almost like we are at this point.
That is Gobo from matt7898 at 1 hour, 57 minutes, and 30 seconds. Desert en route. Or on the way to desert now. So Tower Room was an absolute bait. Now, a curious question. Is Matt going to... Nope, just going straight to the boss. So, if we're lucky, maybe Lamolus has a sword.
Yeah, I think the only possibility here is, and I think this is a very low % chance of happening, is if Lanmo doesn't have a sword, maybe Matt dips in for a tempered sword at this point because it's right there. And I would think Matt would go into his portal before saving and quitting. But that's the only thing that I see as a possibility at all.
Yeah. It's all but certain that a sword is somewhere here in desert because we really have nowhere else to be. It can either be on the green pendant or it could be on, and it could be on pedestal, but that's it. There is a sword in desert, either one way or the other.
Or Swamp Pig?
That would be where the other one is potentially, but regardless, there has to be at least one sword here. Somewhere. And it's not on the boss. But that is the last pendant, and that is the last boss as well that we need to fight for the goal of all dungeons. Matt7898 can now go fight Ganon.
Yeah, I mean, the worst case of troll swords at this point is Swamp Palace, Ped, and Saha. 2 of those 3 have the last 2 swords, and we're not seeing a 3rd sword tonight. And we're not going to see one from Matt. Matt is heading straight to Ganon. I think this is probably one of the rarest scenarios you're going to see this week for an AD key seed. We are going to see Master Sword Ganon.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Nabs did not mirror out of the Ganon's Tower to check the Hera basement, so now has to climb the mountain again. So at this point, it's all but this is just basically Matt's race to lose at this point.
Yeah, and Matt does have a blue potion. We did find that one earlier, so lots of safety. And great positioning for Ganon on this start of phase 2. Just going to be able to stand in behind and just keep on charging these spins.
Yep, nice one cycle there. Gonna go ahead and drink the potion to get all the match back. Has to do every spin attack here. And yeah, Master Sword is one of the more difficult to fight. You cannot flash Ganon with the Master Sword. It does not work. You have to use tempered level damage with the spin attacks. Wait till you get that. Nice first hit. Misses the torque. Double, maybe? Yeah, not quite a triple.
Nice attempt on it, though.
Yep, and that's the last strike there. Ladies and gentlemen, get your GGs in chat for matt7898, who will win this race for Waffle House Drive-Thru, giving him 3 points in week 6.
And as Matt crosses that bridge, we have an official finish for Matt with a race.gg time of 2 hours, 1 minute, and 32 seconds. Once again, get those GGs in for Matt7898. And on the other side, it does look like...
Looks like we'll at least see Nabs finish.
Yeah.
And we are now joined by Matt7898. Jeez, you. What?
Thanks, GG's.
Indeed. Yikes.
Yeah. Trying to decide what the worst part was. Was it the Skullwoods Big Key on Laser Bridge leading to Vanilla Fire Rod? Maybe. Was it the Desert Big Key in Tile Room after getting the Swamp Big Key in another Tile Room as my 2 last location? I don't know. Or could it be the fact that 2 items in the 3 locations I didn't check were swords? That I think that might be the worst part of the seed.
Yeah. It was
Is that
either
the lowest you've ever had for an AD key seed?
Probably, yeah.
I mean, at least you found the silver arrows.
True.
But yeah, this one was definitely on the rougher side of things. Certainly something works in your favor though.
Yeah, I felt like I routed really fortunately. Like I was able to single dip the whole pod eastern area, single dip single dip Mire Ice. So like getting that whole pod eastern thing done in one trip felt pretty good. I got the boots, I think, probably relatively early because that like 6 heart swamp dip was about as early as you could get them, so I felt pretty good about that. So I just think my routing was pretty fortunate.
Yeah, and I think your analysis of at least your side really was the big difference here, or at least the big differences. Being able to single dip the eastern pod area definitely helped, and the other piece that also gave a bit of an advantage, being able to hit Mire when you did. Unfortunately, Nabs had not went back for that Mire big on the library for a little while.
Okay, yeah, that was easy to forget about for sure.
Yeah.
And
I kind of messed up there because I should have gone in the desert, and when I went there the first time, I forgot that desert was a pendant, and that big key could be locked behind Ganon's tower, which it was. Otherwise, I would have dipped Mire even earlier.
So we do have a question coming in from chat here. Was Tower I want to do that check right away.
Hold on, I couldn't quite hear what you said there.
It was what was the tile room skip intentional at that point, or?
Yeah, so I had what is it, like 4 checks, 5 checks upstairs GT. I had the shovel, and I hadn't checked lumberjack ledge yet. Plus, I knew I had the Harris small key, so I could put those both in together. I was feeling real bad when nothing worked out, and I was feeling even worse when I pulled a big key out of the towel room. But I guess I could have skipped it, but I didn't because I had to go back.
At this
And
point,
Nabs
find out
giving
folks, Nabs has decided to throw in the towel. GG's to him though for an excellent race as well. And yeah, man, one of the other things oh, there's a sword on bed. Okay.
Of course. Yeah, I thought about like going to Sahasrara or Ped, or I should have probably checked the Desert Big. Maybe I should have checked one of those. I don't know. My Master Sword cannon was all right. I don't think it would have saved much time either way.
And we are now joined in by Nabs. GGCU, good effort on the seed.
GG's.
Bit of a rough one though, I'll be honest.
So GG's Nabs.
GG's. What's the sword? No clue.
Apparently one of them was on Ped.
Yeah, the other one had Speed Green Pendant, because I just went and checked Swamp Big, and that was another GT small key.
I think the only other thing we didn't see was the Desert Palace big chest.
Yeah, but I mean, that has to be there.
Yeah. That, or it could be on Green Pendant.
Yeah.
Yep.
We saw pretty much everything else.
But I to both of you, amazing job in this seed. Both of your hammer fights throughout were just, put on a great show and almost a masterclass of how to use the hammer in all those fights.
Yeah. And also the routing with the mirrors for both of you to go back to Laser Bridge was just the icing of the cake, really. Well done on both of your parts on that.
Yeah, I kept delaying some dungeons because of the equipment. Like, I wanted to go into ice earlier, but it was just too risky, I think. Especially in 80 keys when you have a good excuse to do overworld. In Mire, too, I would have liked to gone in there earlier, but, like, you just had such terrible equipment.
Yeah, like, I skipped out on Mire for a long time. I went to ice kind of early-ish. I went there before I did, like, the Mire area in general, which, that's just a mistake on my part. I forgot that I could flute there and go in. But yeah. I was really happy, like, dipping Swamp super early and getting boots. That was really nice for sure.
Yeah, pretty much. The swamp play, roughly about the same time. I think Nabs might have been a minute later to finding those boots, or 2. It wasn't a far distance, so nothing really hinged on when you both went into Swamp Palace. I mentioned to Matt a little bit ago that I think in terms of what kind of made the difference here was Matt was able to single dip the eastern pod area. The first trip there had 5 keys, or 5 smalls for pod, and the big keys for both dungeons. So, and then of course the Mire big key.
I fluted to Mire like right after I did TR, and it was like, wait, there was a big key in the library. I need to go pick that up. Really glad I didn't like dip Mire the first time I was in there. But yeah.
Yeah, we were kind of thinking about why you hadn't realized that was the big factor there. So, understandable.
Yeah, this seed just threw like most of us through a loop here. But for the most part, you guys got through it. I don't blame you for wanting to hate the seed, though. To be perfectly honest, that was just atrocious, hiding both the other 2 swords behind the Desert Peasant's big key, which was your go mode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was dumb.
Any final thoughts about this seed, though, before we wrap things up?
No, but thanks for the stream and the commentary and all the volunteers.
Yeah.
And GG Snaps again.
GG's again.
So
thanks for the stream, comms. It's always fun playing Rando.
So if you want to see more of these 2 teams going at it, folks, be sure to join us tomorrow at 9:10 p.m. in which Pika Pals will race against Demo. So, restream to be determined. And if you want to see matches is going on, we got matches all across the afternoon hours, with the first one actually starting closer to midday. That is set up for Shactual's Digging Game versus debuted our acronym Astor vs. Gem at 110. And of course, make sure to follow our two runners here. They found an excellent race for us today. Make sure to also follow SpeedGaming 226 so you don't miss any racing action, not just the ALTTPR Randomizer League. And also make sure to follow our tracker Atero, and especially make sure to follow our my co-com Radical Sniper 99, who came in the very last minute to help me out here. Thank you for joining me on the mic tonight. I really appreciate it. This would have been a rough one for me to do alone.
I had a great time, and yes, make sure to follow WolfLink as well. You know, really fun working together on another one of these comm sessions.
Yep. But that's going to do it for us here. So from all of us here at the ALTTPR Randomizer League, I've been WolfLink037, and we shall see you all next time, and thank you for watching. Have a good night, everyone.